So good morning, Lana Scott Lighthouse. Got my cup of coffee here. Oh, and I finally got my glasses fixed, so now they won't fall off my face when I look down. So I like to wear my contacts, but I've been wearing them so much my eyes really needed a break. So I'm just going to have to deal. Though I actually like these. So last night I did a video. I actually sat here for a while and did some research because, Wi-Fi here in the mountains doesn't come through very much. And after I looked up some information on star seeds, because I know that I am one, and it's just something I feel inside. I have never felt like I belonged on this planet, and it's been a journey. I'll just say that. And when I did a candle meditation afterwards, and was really astounded at some of the things that came through to me, and some of the things that even my candle did something weird. I uploaded a video about that too, and it still is. I don't know if y'all will be able to see it or not. It's still, the wick is doing something really weird. Ever since I started, I try to meditate every single day. Folks, I would recommend you meditating every day. It really does help to calm and center you. It helps you to get your thoughts in order. It also helps to pull things to you. I don't know if I've ever talked about this before, but when I first started meditating on a regular basis back, 30 years ago, I was a security guard at one time at an apartment complex in Tampa, Florida, and I had taken on a cat, and I actually went to a lady's house where she was giving some away. I don't think I've told this story before. And one cat from across the room, one of the kittens, came flying up and wrapped herself around my leg. And I just looked down and said, I'll take this one. Later, I went back and looked, and of all the kittens, she was the prettiest one. So I kind of lucked out there. But she picked me. I didn't pick her. And her name was Belle. She was a black and white tuxedo. I got her fixed, and I had her for 10 years. I don't know. I got her in Florida when I became a corrections officer. So that was a year before I left. And then I moved to Mississippi, and I had her for a good 11, 12 years before she passed away. But while I was the security guard, after I'd gotten the cat and brought her home, I hadn't even named her yet. It took me a week to name her. And the name Belle, Beauty and the Beast had just come out, and I was on my way to my second job one day, and the name Belle just popped into my head. So I feel like she named herself. But at any rate, I had started meditating on a regular basis, and this is what some of the things meditation will do for you, or what it has done for me in my personal experience. So I needed a cat bed for her, and I didn't have one, and I didn't really have the money to go spend $40 on a cat bed, because at the time, prices were a little bit higher. Well, they're still high, but some things have gone down in price over the years, some have gone up, and, things fluctuate. So somebody had moved out of the apartment complex, and I was just keeping an eye out for kids and stuff, because I was a security guard there, and my job was to walk around, take notes. If anything happened, take notes. Whatever phone calls I had to make, if I had to call the police, I had to write all that down. So anyway, someone had moved, and they had thrown a whole bunch of stuff outside the dumpster because the dumpster was full. And I just walked around to make sure there was no nothing no kids could go play on and get hurt or whatever. And as I come around to the other side of the dumpster, there's a doll bed. And I looked down and I said, oh my God, there's a perfect cat bed. And I brought it home. It was clean. It didn't have nothing on it. It was just a little doll bed, had some dollies in it. And that somebody was moving and they decided not to take. So I took the doll bed and I brought it home, put a pillow in it and said, Belle, here's you a bed. She jumped right into it. But I had been meditating on a regular basis and thinking, gee, I really need a cat bed for my cat. And the ones I looked at, I think at the time were like $30 to $40, and I was like, man, can't I come up with something a little bit cheaper? Because back then I was working for the dollar, which I still am now, and I just couldn't really afford to buy a more expensive pet bed, and that worked out perfectly for her for a whole year, and she absolutely loved it and slept in it all the time. So that was the first thing I ever noticed after I had started meditating on a regular basis, that when I needed it, it came to me. When you meditate, your energies merge more into the universal energies. You become more with the plane of existence that we're on. You become more, your spiritual vibrations rise, and things aren't so hard to come to you. They come a lot easier. And I finally figured out why that was happening. When I meditate, and now even more so, I get just like with the starseed message last night that I got, after I did the video and was typing it, I was still channeling. I was still getting like the messages that I did on that video. One was and I didn't read this. This is something that just came to me while I was writing up that I had, about the starseed message and the candle was doing. And I just heard in my head that what they were telling me was some starseeds are out there in force now and doing their work. And there are some of us, and I think it applied to me, but I don't know that for a fact. I just feel that it did, that some of us, we're needed, but we're not needed quite at this point. So I'm still not sure exactly what my life purpose and journey is, but I do know there's a reason why I'm here. And I tell y'all that all the time. So those channeled messages came through, and I added them to the print on the video. And I'm going to try to do more of those, because those channeled messages that come in, I feel like are that was like a breakthrough for me last night. So I'm feeling like now maybe that's something I have missed or didn't understand. Though I did ask my pendulum one day, what, is there, I was trying to understand some of the other energies in the earrings that I was having. I talked about that on another video. And what I'm getting now is that the messages that are going to be coming through are going to come through in a little bit different way. And now is when I need to share those messages. So as they come through, whenever I meditate and I get something that I think is something that is supposed to be known, I'm going to do that. So I would suggest you do the same thing. Last night, what was different about my normal thing was that I had done some research, and then when I got done doing the research, then I meditated, and then I just started getting these thoughts that I know were not my own. And that is how you know you were channeling, because you will get thoughts that you say, that's not something I ordinarily would think about. And I discovered this last year before I moved here, and then kind of forgot about it. But the messages and the teachers come back up, folks, when you're least expecting them. When you're ready for the teachers and when you're ready for the messages from the universe, they will come through. So for me, that was really an eye-opener last night, and especially with the candle doing and it's still doing I've never had a candle do that before. So I figured I had just more energy in the room than what I ordinarily have. I was very focused, very mellow, which for me is abnormal. When I'm quiet, meditating on a candle, that's when I am my most quiet. Everything's just flowing. So I would suggest that you meditate on a regular basis to get that flow energy to help things progress the way they're supposed to. It helps keep you unstuck. It helps get you out of negative thinking. It helps you to not worry about the small shit and worry about just the things you need to worry about. And there's so many people these days that they're not wanting to stress about things that they used to. Life is changing. I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying this because that is part of my path, part of my life purpose on my own spiritual journey that I have invited you to share with me. I really think we need to tune in more to what we see going on around us, the way the energies flow, what huge masses of people are doing, just how things are shifting and changing. Do y'all realize that there's a lot of major stores now that are closing down because there's so many people on the internet making a living that way that they can't sell stuff the way they used to? Our world is changing. Pay attention. All of us are here for a reason and a purpose. There's going to be some people that are going to be the doers, some that are the followers, some that are the ones that are holding the door open for other people, is the way MJ at Soulful Revolution puts it. And I totally get that. So things are feeling different to me too. The energies are actually feeling like they are now speeding forward, and things are in rapid change right now. You may not see them. They may not seem as big, but maybe a good idea would be to every week look back and see what's changed from the week before. And I personally don't look at the news. I do hear about things on YouTube. So I'm just saying, folks, we're just in a flux of change. Things are constantly changing. So if this helps you, or if you got anything out of today's message, like, subscribe, and share. If you know someone else that, like I have a daughter-in-law, I keep telling her, you need to meditate. You need to meditate. Yeah, when I have time, you need to make the time. So find ways to make your life go more smooth. Take some of the little things you don't want to worry about no more off your plate. Worry about only what you really need to be concerned about. Because all the small things, 20 years from now, who's going to care that you still, owe Joe down the street $20? I'm not saying don't pay your bills or if someone loans you money or something. I'm just saying some of the smaller things, things are just changing too fast, folks. But do be good to people, and do be honorable. If you owe Joe $20, pay Joe his $20. I'm just saying, I can't think of no examples off the top of my head. Just take the smaller things that you don't have to worry about. If the babysitter's always late, instead of stressing about it, get a new babysitter. If the dogs out there keep knocking your garbage over, find a way to tie the garbage can down. Take things off your plate. Figure out quick solutions to some of the small shit so you don't have to worry about it no more, or change it up. Find a different way of doing things. Sometimes just taking the time to find a different way to do something, you just breathe a sigh of relief. Like I decided yesterday, I was going to go through the only two pieces of furniture I brought from Mississippi is a little map chest and my oil cabinet, which is right here behind me. I always try to keep that hid because I got all my oils in there. And I've been throwing all my junk in my drawers. Yesterday, I said, okay, we're getting rid of some of this junk. So the map chest, all the junk got out of it. Half of it went in the garbage can. What I really wanted to keep got set up in baggies and organized here. Got all put away somewhere. Now I have a whole drawer to put some of my spices and herbs in to get them out of sight. So I'm doing some reorganizing because I have such a small space. So, that's just something for you to think about. Find more ways to make your life less complicated, because it is going to get more complicated as more things change here in America. And in other countries, things are changing too, I'm sure. So that's my message for today. This is like the longest video I think I've ever done. But folks, I genuinely care about every single one of you. Y'all have a wonderful day. Lana Scott, Lighthouse.